Ups.
I can see it.
Nice. Nice.
Um,
And
feature-
bam. All right. So these three replays. Nice music, by the way. Which one is it? This one? What are you listening to?
I was using plays.tv and they record all sound going through, which is weird.
Right.
But it's just basic league sounds after it loads.
Oh, okay.
I don't
Okay.
like to listen to music while I play, just distracting.
Agreed. Hard agree. You know, I actually used to listen to music only, and then I tried not listening to music, and I played infinitely better. So it's kind of funny. All right, you can see my screen, right? We're looking at your OPGG. So tell me what's going on here, Sam.
Just give me 1 second. I gotta flip you to a different monitor.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So what's going on? Preseason.
Yes.
That's what's going on.
Oh, okay.
No, I just I get in those spurts of not having much fun, and I decide to play a different champion and end up feeding and inting.
That sounds pretty accurate for League of Legends,
Yeah.
I guess. You know.
Yeah.
But it seems like most of the time you play Lucian, huh?
Yes, I'm a Lucian one trick.
Okay, then I guess a lot of our discussion will be. I assume these replays will be a lot about Lucian stuff, right?
It's yeah. I only gave you Lucian videos.
Okay, nice. All right, let's take a look. So, I guess some advice will be Lucian specific, especially when it comes to mechanical ideas slash E usage and stuff like that. That's the most common. Those are the most common Lucian specific problems. Is mechanical ideas basically. This champion is pretty mechanical. So. Let us take a look. What do you think your strengths and weaknesses are? By the way,
strength and weaknesses: level 2s, level 3s, being able to double shot passive procs.
Well, what do you mean by level 2s and level 3s?
I mean, power spikes, landing power spikes.
Like you don't know when people are hitting level 2 and level 3?
Oh, I definitely know when it's first wave, first melee casters.
Oh, this is strengths, right? Oh, okay. Wait, we are talking about strengths, right?
I think so.
Okay. Sorry, I got confused for a second. My bad. Continue.
Question was just a little vague. At this point, like, I don't really think about his strengths because it's, automatic. So it's kind of hard to answer that question, except for the fact that he's very strong at level 2s, depending on what kind of support he has.
Let me clarify. I mean, you as a player, what do you think you're good at, and what do you think you might need to work on?
Ultimates, definitely. I need to work on using my ultimate correctly.
Okay.
Like getting angles and not shooting in straight lines. I'm really bad at that.
Anything else? Or is everything else just, fine?
It's more of decision making I really have a big problem with, and what's worth for what. I mean, I could try and do all the math in my head, but kind of gets what's that word? Overwhelming.
Okay.
The only real time I can actually really focus on, okay, what was a better play is if I just go back and look at a replay.
But how do we know that in the moment? All right.
In the moment, just make sure to not fight, disadvantages like 3v4s, 2v3s, 1v2s, which I'm very bad at.
Oh, really? Okay, interesting.
Well, I mean, not fighting it, getting greedy and trying to CS minions, even though they have the potential to catch.
Oh, you dead af. Oh, you dead af.
Yeah.
Oh, goodbye. All right, let's talk about this.
Nope. Walk straight into that, yeah.
Let us talk about this. Alrighty. This is a actually very common. This is very common at all ranks. Oh, excuse me.
I was thinking about using my E to dodge skill shots. I don't really know his CDs, so I was just trying to get as much damage off as possible.
Right, exactly. So that's the common problem here is that what is the kind of end goal here, right? It's just most players will take this fight and you're gonna fucking do it until naturally resolves itself. Someone's dying, everyone gets away, whatever. People are out of range, but if people are in range, usually what happens is that this is like a fight to the death, right? Or someone runs away, right?
Yes.
And the problem with these kinds of fights is that when people enter these fights, let me get my pen out here. It's almost like all these players in this fight pretend that they're the only people in the game now, right? It's actually really common where the roams are not considered, the TPs are not considered, and the ganks are definitely not considered, right? So when you are looking for something like this, well, or rather, before something like this happens, the mindset is usually, to avoid this kind of stuff, is usually if a fight breaks out, the enemy jungle is here. That'll save you from stuff like this, where you're just fighting and then it's good 2v2, but then jungle comes out and you die, right? And then all of a sudden you lose lane. It's like, oh shit, what happened? How could I have known beforehand? And we know that their jungle is maybe theoretically bot.
Their jungle is pathing bottom.
Yeah, so
I kind of had a feeling for that, and it wasn't so much that I wanted to partake in this little shenanigans. It's just how do I put it?
Something happens and we continue it, right? I guess.
She lands the Q, and I wasn't really trying to just get kills. I mean, obviously the goal is to set your opponent behind, but the main thing I was just looking at was just quick trades and getting just getting some burst off whenever she lands her. I'm just out of it. Holy shit.
I see. It's like you're trying to get something out of it real quick, right? I guess.
Yeah,
or capitalize on this.
An extended fight.
Yeah.
Not trying to, but it turned into that.
They really fucked up here. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I mean.
All right, let's watch this. So I get the intent, right? It's like, well,
Yeah, I was holding a flash because I had a feeling Kane was coming.
Right. We saw the double binding. We're like, okay, can we get something real quick? Man,
I mean, obviously, if I wasn't boosted, I probably would have flashed at the hook, but.
Well, one might say that flashing this hook is not necessarily good, right?
Not
even if you
necessary, because it could have been sidestepped, but.
Well, more like if you flash this hook, you're not getting anything.
Yeah,
like they're gonna walk away. Yeah, she's gonna flash. It's like, oh, now we're stuck, right? So the problem isn't that okay, the situation turned out to be pretty good because this Kane instead of flash auto attacking, he just tried to throw his abilities out. So he missed everything, right? So okay, actually, so he kind of fucked up, but
I'm not for sure, but Kane was a menace, so I can't remember if he actually used a flash early on. No early times. He could have.
This is definitely you do not start with W on Kane for sure. When when they have flash, you just walk up and hit them, right? You could just Q auto attack or something. All right, so but let's talk about like the habit here, which is the fighting.
Way I was gonna die.
Right here. Why is this part important? Let's back it up a little bit.
That part is important because I target priority.
Yeah. Okay.
Thrush used all his abilities, and I noticed that. I just didn't think that the Jinx was gonna walk back up, so I was just gonna hit the closest target and go back to farming.
Right.
That was the idea. That was originally the idea, but that Lux Q kind of rose color, made me feel some type of way, and I paid for it.
Yeah, it's always kind of hard to how's it called? Break the habit of when you see
tunneling?
something juicy. Yeah, kind of tunneling. I honestly I don't really like to use the word tunneling because everyone honestly overuses it. Like, oh, you tunnel on this, tunnel on that, stop chasing. But it's very much an idea of being aware that it's not just you guys, right? Especially if you ever play against something like Katarina, that shit roams bot no matter what happens, or Aurelion Soul, right? That shit is cancer, right? So especially against these kind of champions, right? Or even level 6, you get ideas of Twisted Fate or Nocturne or whatever. Like these champions are more obvious, but in general, the idea is that you want to know it's not just you guys, right? If it's possible, someone on the other team can be on the way. They're gonna come, right?
Yes.
If it's good for them. So the jungle is always on the way. Is what you should be thinking. It's not that you shouldn't go for this. It's that you should decide to go for this after you have thought about the jungle and say, I can beat the jungle if he comes out, right? You have to make that conscious decision that the jungle is not important here. And then you can take this. And then if you're wrong and you die, then you know immediately that, oh shit, maybe the jungle mattered. Or if it works, and they play it well and it still works, then you're like, okay, I had the right idea because this always works. So that's the idea is kind of, it's not that you going for this is necessarily bad. It's that you didn't know he's on the way, or maybe you did know he was on the way, but
It was, yeah, it's 4:30. He's probably moving to his Krugs.
Right. But the kind of idea is, first is you have to know that he's on the way. That's the only thing you care about when you go for this, right? Because hitting them is doesn't require too much brain power if you have all your abilities on cooldown and stuff, right?
I have a tendency to be a little aggro when they use their summoners, and I still have mine up. It was really that Lux binding that kind of.
And like you almost debated you in a sense, right?
It did.
Well, think about it this way.
It did. I mean, I wouldn't have wanted to take my flash.
Think about it this way. The another way you can think about it is the ADC follow up idea, which is if my support does this, what do I do? Right? And ideally speaking, you will never get caught off guard. So let's say, for example, if you are like, oh, the preset is when Blitzcrank lands his hook, we're gonna go in. And then you go in and then die to the jungle. You're like, okay, now I have to take in consideration the jungle before I decide to go in. And then another example is like, let's say you have 5 HP and Blitzcrank, and you say, if Blitzcrank lands a hook, I am not following up because he just smites me or something, or they're just gonna touch me and I die. And that'll prevent you from following up like instinctively, right? Instinctively is not necessarily, instincts is not necessarily bad for a player, but it can turn into a trap in the sense that the first thing you want to do is not always the best thing you can do, right? So okay,
it was actually really hard actually trying to find decent clips to find, because generally it's something I can think about. It's just I have my days where I'm not consistent at all for brain usage. Some days it'll work out. Thinking about
and some days it's just like doomed, right?
I guess so.
Well, this is good because we can come up with some kind of habit to help you with this idea. Right, habits is really what's going to stick with you even on bad days. Where if you have good habits in place, they'll help you play better, right? Than if you didn't have these habits. So I think the fights we're seeing so far are all they're both the exact same idea, right? Where it's fine to take it, and then to the point where people are on the way. Say again?
I actually probably would have gotten that if I EW'd immediately and then double shot into Q.
Yeah, probably, but
because I
it's not bad. The look was fine, right? I think the look was fine. So mechanically speaking, not bad. Decision making wise, decision making wise is like this. Let's talk about this. Like after you kill Jinx, what happens?
Well, I was more focused on just moving towards, shoving the lane, making a recall.
Right, but then what
happens afterwards was just like I said, the tunneling, or whatever you want to call it, the disrespect of the jungler.
Right, so our kind of focus seems to be like your focus seems to be most players, which is you focus on what we're trying to fight here. Right? How do we efficiently do this? And you can already, it shows that you're really good at this. You already know what abilities to use, you know how to do damage, all that jazz, right? Now, the secret is that this is not, once you get good at this, this is like the basic, kill people in front of you. You have to start factoring in the people you can't see, right? Everyone on the minimap. right? So you can say something like, okay, Mordekaiser, even if he TPs, is useless, and then you say, okay, I already just killed mid, she could roam, and then Kane's been missing for like 2 minutes. Okay, he's coming bot, right? Because he's not diving top. I mean, he's not doing anything up here. So
he's not.
that's like the main idea, is expecting that they're down here, or not expecting. You should be assuming that they're here. Like, assume they're in this tri-bush whenever something happens. So if you have that assumption, let's back it up. So let's say you have this assumption, right, that he's in this tri-bush, and then you Graves checks. So okay, he's a little bit over here or something like that, right? And you say that even if he's here, trading with Jinx here is good. And that's why you can go for this, is because no matter what happens, this is always good. That's where consistency comes into play for any rank, really, is you make a move and there's nothing they can do to stop you, right? That's the idea. So let's say you would say, okay, this trade is so good that if Kane is here, they still lose, right? And then, you know, so far so good, right? I would agree. And then now when we keep going, though, you could say that, you know, if Kane comes out, this is no longer winning, right? What's the difference, you know?
That little circle around Graves' head.
Right, I guess, but well, yeah. Basically, it's like it doesn't really. The difference is that in one, you take Kane you make Kane a factor in all the decisions, right?
Yes.
Versus Kane is the non-factor, or Kane is not considered, and then we do this anyways. Like, I'll tell you, most players, this is what most players do. They fucking do this no matter what, every time. You're trying to help this Graves 100% of the time, right? It's not really the consistent way to win these situations. You could say something like, oh, mechanically speaking, if I just short dash and then don't hit the tower, I mean, don't get hit by a tower, maybe you could fight this. Okay, you know, you're not necessarily incorrect, but that's not gonna help you. That's not gonna help you get better. Like, how does that help you get better, right? Sure, it's possible that you could have mechanically done this, but the big idea is that you didn't know he's on the way, right? That's the big idea. Like, if you know he's on the way, you'll play this differently, always. You know, that's like a solo queue, trap. If you ever catch yourself thinking about stuff like that, right? Like, he comes out of the bush and you're like, holy shit, I should have flashed immediately. It doesn't work that way. You have to know he's in the bush first, you know? If you know he's in the bush and then you fuck up the flash, then you're like, okay, I need to work on my execution. But being aware is always the first step for any kind of mistake, is did you know it was coming, right? So far we're seeing, you know, maybe
I knew he was bot side, but I did not know whether he was, you know, going to show up that instant. It was more of I didn't know exactly when. Plus, I like one of the problems I'm having. I know my champ very well. I don't know other champs very well. I don't know if Lux's Q would have done more damage in order for me to get the triumph to be able to walk out of that situation. I don't know whether or not that is a thing I could have done. And that's where I think the decision making is where I'm lacking, because if I had the right amount of knowledge on what other champions are capable of, I might be able to make better decisions.
Right. So the idea behind that kind of stuff is like, well, first off, you're right that, you know, how are you supposed to know when Kane is supposed to come out, right? At what exact moment? And the answer is no one has any idea, right? Only Kane and his team knows, right? So what do? We assume it's always happening, right? Literally, he's always on the way, essentially. Like, he's always in the worst spot. That way, any decision you make, it should be okay, right? If he comes out, right? That's the whole idea. Yes. So there's that, and then the second idea where you're like, in terms of like how much damage these champions do, and could you get a triumph to walk away and stuff like that. Usually speaking, your plays will not come down to the fine details like that. What I mean by fine details is like the specifics of it. It's not gonna matter. The general idea will always matter. Like, say for example, you have 3 people, they have 2 people. You know, as long as no one's getting one shot, you know, the side with 3 people is always gonna win, right? You always want to look at the broader picture, right? Okay, in a jungle gank, the jungle is always winning, unless you have some kind of massive advantage. So massive advantage would be like, let's say Lux lands her 3 abilities on both of them. Okay, that's so good that it doesn't matter if it's 3v2, right? Yeah. So the whole like triumph calculation and Lux damage, you don't need to worry about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, unnecessary.
Maybe to a degree. Yeah, to a degree. Yeah, essentially like you know, the high ranked players don't think about that stuff. It's either winning or losing positions, right? Does this look good or does it not look good, right? and
Yeah.
you know, continuing a winning position will end up in killing them or getting something, and
Yes.
continuing a losing position will everyone dies, right?
Mhm.
So that's
Which
kind
was
of the
pretty
idea.
much the team fights in this game.
Oh, okay, I see, I see. I'm sure we'll see these ideas, but definitely map awareness ideas are. I mean, here's a clear example, right? You know, where's your jungle?
Based.
So their jungle is next to you. That's what you should be thinking
I
every
pathed
time.
up, not to fight Kane. I pathed up to with the idea of just dashing over the wall and getting myself to safety.
Right.
It still wasn't.
Okay, let's take a look at this.
I stood there to see if Lux had the possibility of getting out because I didn't know if she could or could not. So I stood near with heal ready and dash over the wall if Thresh and Jinx collapsed on me.
Okay. So there are two general ideas we can work with here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first is that we are going to go ward and try and help this guy or something like that, right? So why did Thresh get to close in on you guys? You know, how did they do this? What do you think? This picture, how did it happen? Let's back it up. Because this is important. This is a very important concept for early mid game, we would say. Maybe even late game.
Well, I would assume. Let's just start with the basics here with the answer. He right-clicked towards our position, and that's how he collapsed on us.
Okay.
But the idea of him collapsing on us is, I do not own that answer.
So let's say you push this wave in, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much time do you have to go to ward?
I'd say anywhere between, well.
So let's say
it's 9 minutes 49 seconds. Jinx
don't worry about like the second, like exact seconds, but rather if you go ward and he starts to run at you, you will see him, right? So you can back off.
Well, then you automatically know that something's fishy.
Okay, so now watch this.
Yes, I'm just wasting time.
Okay, now why did you say it's wasting time?
Because I should have went in ward first, saw the Kane, Lux wouldn't have walked into the Fog of War, or maybe, well, yeah, because if we would have went earlier, Kane wouldn't have been there at that exact moment. We would have gotten vision. We would have seen it coming.
Right. So what's the habit here? What do you think? How do you do this every single game?
If I can't hit turret, and I can't hit them, and I can't hit minions, do something else instead of just going in circles in front of their turret.
Right. So our habit is very much your time to do something is right when all these minions are dead, the enemy minions, right? So at this exact second, you should already know what you want to do next, right? So if you wanted to go ward, you go ward. If you want to hit tower, it's not, hitting tower is not necessarily bad. Sometimes it's better than warding, because you guys could get the plate, right? But if you guys want to hit tower, you do that, and then you don't go ward after. You don't do two things.
Usually don't try to hit towers against catch supports.
Yeah.
Whenever I know that if I'm hitting the tower, I can't get hit.
Right. So I for sure, it's very much an idea of you try to do two things, right? Well, your lane tried to do two things. You and Lux are kind of a unit, right? So you guys try to do two things. You got the plate and you try to ward. So you got punished, right? You don't have enough time to do two things. Is the idea. So you guys are losing flash or something. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe you can one shot him. It's actually turning out to be.
I know the damage.
It's turning out to be pretty good, I guess. But you should be aware of. This is actually working out really well because the Aatrox TP too. But the whole idea is you wanna plan this out for sure. Wow, this Lux is actually kind of destroying them. Wait a minute. Where's his ulti?
The Lux was I don't think this Lux was this elo in particular. Maybe it wasn't that much higher because I still feel like she was kind of iffy. But I don't think she was what's that word? In the proper area of MMR.
Really? Like too high or too low?
I think might have jumped on a Smurf account. decided to start playing, kind of
I
thing.
see. I see. Pretty spicy. Pretty
The
spicy.
reason why I assume that is because generally I will try and I wouldn't say like set up the plays. The only best way I can set up a play is by just controlling the wave, but like pinging and stuff like that. But she was doing all the work, like telling me, typing in chat, so I knew something was not typical of usually the supports I'll get in this area.
I see. I see. I see. This one's interesting. 2v2, you can't lose. You have flash, right?
Oh,
Oh,
that was
it doesn't matter if he hits you, to be honest.
I know. I was just the fact that he knew my
Oh.
he knew I was
Oh,
gonna
wait,
dash
okay.
up was actually pretty good.
Got read like a book, huh?
So I
Feels bad.
had to give him I had to clap for that because that was actually pretty funny.
This is really good. This is actually really good. How do you know you can do this, I guess?
Well, first Thresher's not there, and like you said, 2v2.
Mm-hmm. And
I
what
also
else do you
do
have
notice
to...
Hmm?
What else do you have to guarantee this?
minions.
Well, these minions aren't really...
I mean, I'm just answering with obvious or what's obvious in front of me. So
How if you're guaranteed to win this, what do you have that guarantees this win?
well, I know that I know that the extra stuff like wasting my ult could have been avoided if I pathed to that first bush and warded the second bush. Because I lost vision of him on the I don't really know.
Well,
what bush
don't
in the
worry
middle
about the
was.
specifics. All right,
Oh,
it's
okay.
whenever you need to ask yourself, what did I do wrong? Unless you grossly misplayed your mechanics, it's never gonna be the mechanics. All right. If you're going for 4v5 ideas, then you need to calculate mechanical ideas. But in general, like this is a general.
Well, I mean,
You
it's
know, you
something I
win
can still
9 times out
improve.
of 10, huh?
Something I can still improve.
Wait a second.
It's something I can still improve on, like making that decision to actually
You're not
do that.
wrong, but here's the thing: is that it's not holding you back.
Oh,
Right.
oh, yeah.
That's the idea.
I'm just taking a lot of notes, so just trying to get
So,
as much as I can.
so what's the idea here that tells you win this fight 9 times out of 10 when you hit the tower? You hit the tower, can't ganks, you win 9 times out of 10.
Lux binding into a full combo, full rotation.
Well, she didn't land the binding, right? Then that's not really
Not in this
guaranteed.
instance,
Like we're looking for like something that
but I mean we were able to kite him, also.
What do you have that makes these ganks for the Monka S? Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see the screen. I'm looking right at that flash button. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to say I'm stingy on my flashes, but I would rather not use it.
Wait, you'd rather not use it to kill this jungle?
Oh, well, I'm not saying like, well, I mean, Lux got it. I'm fine with that.
Oh no, like we're not saying like we use it to kill him. We're saying that in this situation, you're gonna win 9 times out of 10 because you have flash. Not necessarily that you have to use it or that you're gonna use it to get the kill or anything like that. It's that no matter what happens, you're gonna come out on top pretty much every time, right? So, you know, if you going for this kind of stuff, when you have flash, it means you have a high chance of making this work every time, right? That's where the decision making and the consistency comes from, is knowing that, you know, this flash makes it so that we can take this. You know what I mean? That's like the you always want to look at like the big ideas. Like, how do you do this? How do you know, you got this Kayn to gank you, all right? How do you do this again next game? That's the problem, is can you reproduce this over and over and over and over and over again, right?
Well, how I depends. Generally.
Right.
I mean,
so
if
it
I
depends.
exert as much pressure as I can and force him bot lane when I have the potential to win a fight, then that's what I should be doing. But there are definitely a lot of situations where I'm at most going even.
Right. You can. I mean, you could have a cutlass here and you'd still win this, right? That's what I'm trying to get at. Is that generally speaking, you can look at the situation and take the general details, right? Like say something. Their support is not here. Jungle is ganking. We have flash, and what do? We're hitting tower, so we can bait them into ganking. And you can set this up any game, literally any champions, any game, and that's kind of the whole point is that you can set the situation to have this, right? Honestly, you can have their support
You're not
here.
technically talking about the mechanical ability to defeat him, but the idea of being able to get him there. And then
yeah.
I see what you mean now.
These mechanical ideas, it doesn't matter unless you don't know how to use your abilities. You don't need to like it's all very much about the general ideas. There's always average case, right? How do you set this up that 9 times out of 10 you win playing like a monkey? That's literally what we're going for. Every game is how do you find a situation where you play like a monkey and still win, right? So it doesn't have to be perfect, right? You can definitely work on mechanical ideas. It's just that if you like you said, you were like, okay, how do I
kind of use that idea, but not in that typical regard. Like if there's a fight breaking out, I'll generally ask myself a question on like even if everybody else fails to do what what their champ is designed for, can I win the fight myself? Like, if I can make a play, can I win, even if everybody else messes up?
I mean, I think that's a good way to approach solo queue fights for sure, right? Is anything you do is what's it called? Is gonna be winning no matter what happens, right? I think that's a good way to think about it mechanically, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me, right?
Yeah.
Was there a question in there or?
Oh no. That was pretty much it.
Like I'm sure we'll see in these team fights, right? Where oh.
Yeah, that was worded.
Well, I mean, you have flash, so we might be okay here. But this is 2v3, so it's also likely we're not okay here. All right, let's see. So I guess we're not okay.
That's right. That's right. The auto.
Let's back it up. So
made me sad.
So here's the thing: is that this is very much in line with what we were talking about in the previous example, where it's always whenever there's a situation here, we're always going to talk about the general idea, right? And then you can sometimes talk about exceptions, right? The general rule and exceptions. And a lot of the times when we talk about mechanical ideas, like specifically we're looking to flash the hook or we need to auto cancel everything or anything like that, that will be the exception to a lot of these rules. Like let's say, for example, we say don't take 4v5s. And then you have some mega insane ulti or flash or something like that and you win the 4v5. And that's because you can calculate your way to victory. That would be the exception, the 10%. The 90% is not going for that, right? So when we look at stuff like this,
bad idea. It was bad idea, but the mechanical part only really does come into play when the fight is at a 50-50. Generally,
right. Well,
unless like you said.
Well, here's my question here. All right. So why do you think this is a bad idea?
First off, we got 3 top. We have an objective bot side, so that means that their jungler, their bot side, and a potential mid laner can come to take that objective. Knowing that I'm pretty sure Lux was seen on a ward, and that Cassiopeia was recalled, so making that idea that they will probably most likely be heading to Baron, or not Baron, Dragon, because of the details on the map.
Well, that's all technically correct. I agree, 100%. But what do you?
So my idea shouldn't have been to path in that direction and just stand a little further back by trying, and pressure it without putting myself in danger.
So here's
And
here's
paying for
the
assistance, I guess. I'm not sure.
so the question is, since you can see the replay and think about all this and come up with the correct conclusion, how come you couldn't do that in game fast enough? What do you think?
I just like I said, I just remember the word now, just right then and there. I have days where I autopilot and I have days where I don't.
Ah, okay. So the autopiloting
And
idea.
more often than not, I'm
Right.
autopiloting, and I'm trying to break that, but it's been something that I've been dealing with all my life.
Right. And so our autopiloting would be something like you automatically come here, push the wave, and then go to dragon. That would be the autopilot, right? So here's the a habit to help you fix that, and it's decision making related, right? Is that what makes you say that you can push this wave in the first place? Right here. It's like you want to kind of reevaluate your decision to do anything, right?
Well, I can push this wave because Graves is, not too far from me. If I played towards the top side where I have the vision, then I'd at least be able to get away if something were to have happened.
Perfect, I agree. And you have flash, so now I definitely can't lose. All right. Now here's the thing: is that you do not move from this spot until you say that, and then push. That's how you fix this.
I have this little thing in my head that LS used to say, "Don't pass the torches."
Don't pass the torches. What does that mean?
Don't pass the torch. Like, depending on how turret's standing, I'll usually like ping a torch and say like, don't like push away further than that unless you have vision. And I'll usually say that to my team and stuff like that.
Interesting.
So they have a landmark to look at and be like, oh, that guy told me not to do that. Maybe I should listen to him. That's not generally the case.
Interesting. Well,
I just try all options to help win games. I'm clearly seeing that it's more of something else than what I thought it was.
All right. So here's the habit that I think will help with autopiloting. Okay, is you don't do anything. You literally AFK on the tower until you can come up with what to do, with a reason, right? And it'll stop stuff like this. Like here's the thing: is let's say for example, you can push this because you're gonna kite and then run with Graves. Kite with Graves, run to him, flash, whatever. If they come out, if their whole team comes out, you're okay. That's how you can push this. Is the idea, right? And then the next step is, what do you do after you push? Okay, and then you reevaluate literally every decision. You say, oh, I can't ward. Why can't you ward here? Or you would come to the conclusion that you can't ward here. Why is that?
Remember to reevaluate.
Yeah, no, like literally, that's your new habit. Is you literally question every decision you make. Like you don't do anything unless you've thought it through, right? And that'll stop stuff like this from happening. Which is, what could happen here if you go ward here?
Face check.
Exactly. Who specifically?
Kane.
Okay, and
Thresh.
Okay, so he hits you with a hook, you're doomed, right?
Yes.
So how do you do this?
Don't walk that direction and walk behind close where the turret is.
All right, or maybe say something
and try and maybe sneak a ward, over the wall.
Exactly. So you can see, now that we can pause and think about it, you can come up with a bunch of different solutions, right? You can even say, we're gonna wait until their mid laner shows up. So now we're just face checking the jungle and the support, and we have Lux and Graves behind this. Or you're gonna go over the wall on ward or something like that. But the whole point is that you're aware that they could be there. You assume that they're there, right?
So don't do anything unless you've made a plan for it.
Right.
So what if I made an auto recording that was on like repeat of me just saying, "What are you doing?" Like every 10 seconds.
I mean, you could. Honestly, literally, whatever works for you. Like this is what works for me whenever I get stuck into this idea. Is that I sit at my tower and be like, okay, what am I supposed to do here? Because it's better to not do anything than it is to actively throw, which is what's going on here, right? And this is only an active throw because you don't know it's 2v4. If you knew it was 2v4 and you say this is good, then you can do that, right? You can say you're like consciously making the decision to 2v4. You say, I have flash, I have heal, I have everything, I'm strong. We have Graves is strong, I think I can 2v4. And then you can take this, right? But the whole point we're seeing so far is that you don't really know that they're ganking or coming, or that they have multiple people, right? That's the assumption, is that they're all here. So that's kind of what you need
Yes.
to be assuming before you make these decisions. Because I mean, you can say, you know, you could have played this better, you could have auto canceled better, you could have squeezed in an extra auto attack, but the whole point is that on average, you're gonna lose this 9 times out of 10.
Yeah,
On
and
average,
it's not that good for me to trade kills with, with their support.
right, exactly. I mean,
That gives
especially since you're
time for
ahead
Jinx to
and
ramp
stuff.
up a little bit.
Right.
Free
You would
farm
prefer to not
without
trade
danger.
for sure.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's the major idea we're seeing so far is, you know, when you want to make these decisions, you're not factoring in where the enemy team is. I think is the big one. Specifically in lane, you don't know where the jungle is, and in mid game, it was just in general anyone missing. Like for example, he's gonna smite that, and you're gonna get doomed here, right? Well, you're gonna get away here, but this could have easily been a hook right here. Right.
Yes.
See, here's the thing: is you need to assume literally everything. Okay, so then you come up with a solution. What should you do? You're gonna stand here. You would eventually come up with something. You stand here and dash over the wall. But the whole point is that don't do stuff until you come up with these ideas, right?
Well, I mean, I believe I'm not really, I don't like kind of remember this game, but if I remember correctly, I think I knew that Thresh was walking up toward that little bush right there. That little,
let's see.
that little snug bush that like put control wards that nobody checks. And then I didn't think Kane was gonna show up, but just saw his portrait, like just pop on the map, bro. And
Wait,
that
this
gave
ground
me
takes forever though. They could easily run around, right? He has Moby boots, or they could cut you off from here. See, here's the thing: is it's always worst case scenario, right? They could have cut you off at wolves. They could have run around like this, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things. I mean, this is a lantern flash flay, and if you don't flash that flay, it's doomed, right? So that's the thing, is you need to assume worst case scenario. It's just because you see them doesn't mean they can't still immediately rush to your position. I think that's also a common trap. And when you see them on a ward, is that, oh, I saw the jungle top side 30 seconds ago, so I'm okay now. And then, you know, if you watch the replay, he based and ran straight bot. So that's the big idea, is kind of assuming worst case scenario for their position, right? You haven't really lost situations because of your mechanics, right? You've only ever lost situations if, you know, it's so doomed that you can't win. Right? In fact, you've actually won some situations where you shouldn't because of your mechanics, which is really good, right?
I still don't think my mechanics are even where
it's
I want
always
them to be.
it's always you compare it to the people in your game. You compare it to your skill level, right? And that's kind of how you should look at it for now, at least. Is you know, are you doing better mechanically?
I want to do that, but I sometimes go into these games. I would say with too much confidence in my ability to, oh, they're gonna miss a hook, or they're gonna do this and fail it.
Oh yeah, don't do that for sure. That's like that doesn't make any sense.
I mean, because sometimes if I make a decision, well, if I play in my head that, oh, they might be, you know, Thresh gods, then I would never try and trade with the Thresh, because he would just destroy me. So if I assume, or like at least have an idea that they actually, you know, just average players, then I get the confidence in order to, you know, I don't know, it's very complicated.
I understand. It's like if you assume they're bad, you're like, oh, I'm gonna play like they're bad. They're gonna miss everything, right? Is that kind of the general gist of it?
Yeah, I guess so.
So you're right in saying that you assume the worst case scenario. You assume they're really good. Essentially, you assume they're gonna do the most obvious thing possible, which is like hooking your position or flash play or whatever it is. Like whatever you should basically expect them to do to perform on average, right? Wait, let's talk about this Baron idea though, because I think stuff like this is definitely decision making related, right? So what's going on here?
Well, obviously, yeah, they're doing Baron. Kane goes off of it, obviously trying to make a pick. I really was just grabbing at straws at a play like this, but I kind of actually baited my team when 100% they're gonna smite, but the off chance that they just mess up and we just get a Baron, you know.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, you're right. They're just gonna smite, right? So it's kind of.
I know that once they get Baron, they're gonna shove waves. I'm gonna be in base. They're gonna know where I'm at. I'm gonna have enough time to get my ult back before we decide to fight again. Because fighting would not be smart unless, let's say, it was advantageous for us. But knowing that top lane was behind, mid lane was, I guess, sort of kind of okay, and then the jungler was super far behind. I didn't expect us to just make an easy pick, so I didn't think I needed the ultimate. So I just grasping at straws, just threw it into the Baron pit. See what I could do.
This is a good idea to talk about. So the assumption that you don't need it because nothing's gonna happen is I think is also some form of trap, right? There are a lot of options here where if you have ulti, you can take it, and if you don't have ulti, you can't take it. You know, just because they have Baron doesn't mean you can't do stuff. Let's say, for example, I can come up with like 3 off the top of my head. Let's say they're doing the Baron, and you run around with Cassiopeia, and you are into their face, right?
I mean, can take a fight here. I know that Baron still shreds resistances, right?
Yeah, magic resist, if I recall correctly.
Yes, I wanted to have the faith in my team that, you know, we could have pulled this off. Because I mean, a Cassiopeia with a good ult, Lux with, you know, a couple good bindings, and they're all bunched up. I mean, the play could have been made, but I was assuming that everyone else was not going to do, you know, something. So I just made the best decision on what I think my team would have done. Maybe I should have more faith in my team. I don't know.
I'm so confused, to be honest. Like, so we were talking about, like, when you make these plays, you know that you assume your team can't really do anything. So you always want to make sure that the play you make is independent. It's gonna work with or without your team.
Yeah.
Right? But then you tell me that this Baron has no chance of working, but you're still gonna go for it, right?
Well, I'm not saying, like, I wasn't gonna put myself in too much danger to get it, but the off chance that he missed smite by like 10 HP and my last bullet from ultimate secures it or something. I don't know, just like I said, grasping at straws.
I think when in doubt,
feeling this game was over, and I was at this point. Yeah, what is it? 21 minutes. 21-minute Baron. Kane is you know, actually. Yeah.
Here we go. Here's something that might help your decision-making process when coming to ideas like this. When you're playing solo queue, and you get insane value off your abilities. Let's say this. You assume your teammates are gonna get poor value off their abilities, or they're gonna fight poorly, or something like that. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? What does that mean you have to do to carry games consistently?
Use my abilities 100%.
Yeah, like insane value, right? Yeah. So here we go, right? So what we don't, like, when you go for this. This is like a negative. You're like leashing for them, essentially, right? They could be face tanking a little bit more, but then you're like, oh, like, it doesn't make sense. Like, if you want to, you know, win solo queue, and we take these mechanical ideas. Let's say you wanna like, this is a mechanical idea where it's 4v5. What do we need to do to win a 4v5? You're gonna have to ulti someone here. Right, you can even save ulti a backline if we go for this fight, but you know, you kind of lock yourself out of that possibility when you use your ulti. Yes, exactly. So it's kind of like
can't get cleaver stacks, you know, real quick.
Yeah. You could. I mean, at least you could get a kill here, White Baron, or you even chase people down. Look, it's not even that bad, right? Some kind of Blade of the Ruin King ulti here is easily kiteable, right? So I don't know what happened, but. If you want to,
it was that long dash E in, and then, or no, actually no, it was stepping up too far and not trying to use, you know, my maximum range.
Oh, that hook was bullshit. Let's look at this. Oh my god. Nah. That skin is pay to win. But I think the real idea here was what we were talking about, like what was going through your head when you pressed R, like that. It's literally never gonna work.
Honestly, probably nothing.
I want you to think, like, so far the kind of perceived mistakes we've seen you make are ones where you do something without considering without thinking it through. It sounds kind of bad, but you like try and do something without thinking it through. Like say for example, trying to follow up on these ganks when the jungle's coming. It's not that it's not that you didn't win the gank, it's that you didn't know he was on the way, right? Or stuff like we're trying to stop this Baron, but you just cast ult immediately, or when you're pushing mid, you weren't thinking where the enemy was when you tried to push mid, right? So maybe something along the ideas of being more patient and executing your plan, I think could help a lot, right? Like when you make these decisions, how much time do you have to make these decisions? What do you think? Like, do you have like, do you have to make it within 2 seconds, or, do you have more time than that? And the answer is always going to be, you have more time than you think, right? There's never been like a player. Okay. 1 out of 1,000 players has the problem of they're so hesitant, they let the chance slip by. The other 999 players, they go so fast that they fuck it up, all right? That's usually how it works in this game, right? Is that when people see a play, they want to do it immediately. But oftentimes, going immediately is actually screwing up the play, right? You see where I'm getting at?
Yes.
So maybe the one band-aid fix to help you is to maybe not do stuff until you've thought it through. Like you've been able to tell me what you thought you should have done in the replay. It only takes you like 2 seconds, and that same amount of time
I couldn't figure out on my own. Like, well, I mean, probably could have. It's shit.
It's like you can come up with it.
Words right now.
No. It's like you can come up with it if you watch your own replay and you pause here and you're like, okay, what's the right move? It's obvious to you now, right? And the reason why it's not obvious to you in game is because you're not doing the thinking in game before your actions, right? That's the real takeaway is being able to reason it out before you do a thing, right? Like say for example, you came here to push mid. If I pause here and tell you that this is doomed, you would be able to tell me within 5 seconds. Right, but in game you would do it anyways, and the reason is because you didn't think about it before you went to go. You have to reason it out before you go make the decision, before you go execute on the decision, right? Because it's kind of obvious why it's not gonna work, but why isn't it? Why isn't pushing mid here? Doesn't make sense. What do you think? What's the worst case scenario here if you try and push this out?
Well, they could flash on me, especially the Kane with his 100-0 potential.
I think there's an even worse case scenario here. TBH.
Thresh actually could be in that bush, like right above the minimap.
Hell yeah, right here. That's exactly what I'm thinking, right? He's gonna fucking flash lantern flay, right? So, are you ready for that? That's the question. So this is where yeah, exactly. So here's see, I told you came up with the answer in like 5 seconds. So now it's about literally AFK under tower until you can come up with this and then go do it, right? This will help you the most, because right now players with this kind of problem need to not make moves until they're ready. I mean, he came in from the other way, but he easily could have come from the top side, right? And maybe you won't die, but you set your team up in such a way that this is guaranteed to be lost no matter what happens, essentially. So that's like the idea, is you're trying to do something without thinking it through first.
All right? I want you to me blindly.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that you're not aware that they're on the way. I mean, you could tell within a second of looking at the replay. It's that you're not thinking about it before you go push it out, or before you go do stuff, right?
Like so playing reactionary instead of
yes. Playing reactionary is a good way to play.
I flash here, I think.
I mean, you're gonna kill these guys for sure. Because Kane went top for some reason. Kane going for that. Oh, going for that dash. Okay. He's actually getting away if you hit that box. Feels bad. But that is 100% correct. Is you're playing reactionary to everything, right? You do something, they do something, and then you play like you don't know it's gonna happen, right?
And I'm dead.
Yeah, I mean, he's just gonna come from behind, right? So similar idea here is you forgot where the jungle was. It's just a little bit harder since it's mid game. But I think the number one idea that'll help you the most, like the number one habit that'll help you the most, is making sure you don't make a decision without thinking it through. Like the best person to watch for this kind of stuff is Dopa. Do you know who Dopa is?
Yes, I do.
If you watch Dopa, you'll see that sometimes you'll have to pause and be like, what the fuck? Like, how did he know? And go back and watch his movements, and you'll see that he knows what's going to happen before it happens, pretty much like every time. And that's what we're aiming for here. That's like kind of what will help you the most in these cases, because
generally, yeah, when I can see a game of his, I'll actually just, you know, stop motion it to see what he's thinking.
Me too. I'm just like, holy shit, this guy's a genius. Like, how did he know? Well, this Baron fight is going 10 times better than the last one.
And all my ult was wasted to that clone.
You know, the ulti is not that bad, I would say. Okay, it might not be the best, but
burning it down, but not getting any cleaver stacks on all the other champions.
Yeah, you probably want to hold on to it.
I mean,
but killing the clone is not necessarily poor, I would say. That Graves clone could be scary. Like, you guys are gonna win this, yeah. So I don't know what happened before, but this is exactly how you should have played.
Time.
Yeah. I don't know what happened the first time, but like, I mean, how come? I mean, I don't get it. Like, why didn't you go for that? Why didn't you go for that Hail Mary here this time? You know?
Probably because at this point in time, my brain made that, neuron connection that, oh, Thresh is right here, we can burn him down. All right, let's keep going.
Yeah, so it's clear that it's not that you're incapable of making these decisions. We just need to find a method for you to help you get to this conclusion in game every time, right? Is the idea. Oh, hold up. You're trying to fight this guy. How are you supposed to dodge his flash auto attack?
Exactly trying to fight him.
Oh, feels bad.
But I ran into him anyway. I was just trying to like I was trying to make him path a certain way towards another champion to catch him out. But I don't know what I just did a dumb.
just did a dumb.
Just did a dumb.
I mean, that's one way to put it, I guess.
I would at least say that 20% of the plays that I think about, or 20% of the plays that happen, are generally have some idea of what I was trying to do. But it's having most of them, if not all of them, a plan.
I was watching this team fight real quick. Real spicy. Let me tell you.
I was just trying to take out their biggest damage.
You see how I want you to watch Thresh and ask yourself, who is Thresh trying to hook here? Okay.
Well, I saw he had eyes on that that Aatrox. So after I noticed that he was burning everything on him, then I just kind of did my thing.
Sure. I think the mechanics are not bad. The mechanics are not bad at all, for sure. We're winning these fights based on mechanics alone, essentially. And I think the thing that'll help you improve the fastest is winning fights not based on mechanics, right? Situationally, it's impossible to lose. That's what you're looking for, right?
Yeah, and this.
Okay,
oh
you definitely,
so
you never get in range of Mordekai's there. Oh no, he's
and then
actually.
I think he ulted me and
You're losing so much health.
So hard.
Oh Jesus Christ!
And then I wanted to continue helping, and then I just took too much damage. And
you're dying to Kane here, by the way, so you should peace out. Okay, so there are a few things here I think that'll help you a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so stuff like this is very what's it called? Very typical, right? So here's the overall shift of thinking we want you to work on. Okay, so first is the most obvious, which is whenever fights break out like this, you always want to make sure that your first reaction isn't how can I do as much damage as possible to this dude, but rather who is gonna threaten me that I can't see. All right, that's what I want you to think, because this is where if there's any fighting ideas that get you in trouble, this is the first one where the instant something happens, you lose track of everyone else, right? Something's going on here, everyone's first reaction is let's fight this shit, right? Something's going on, let's look at this, and the only person you care about is the Kane, right?
Yeah, the one that's flanking from the side.
Exactly, all right? So
like what you said earlier about just noticing what's in front of me, and just knowing that once Thresh used his hook, not knowing that Kane was gonna just destroy us all, I still played way too aggressive.
Right. So here's something to help with that is let's say there's a fight about to happen right here. On the way to the fight, press tab and you say which specific champions / abilities are gonna kill me in order of most important to least important, and you do top 3. So we would say it's gonna be Flash Charm, Flash Flay, and Kayn. Well, maybe not even Flash Flay. We'll say just Flash Charm and Kayn. I would say it's top 2, right?
Yeah.
So
I need to expand on my idea of that because I do that by what champion can CC me, but I mistake some of the other abilities that maybe not be CC, but could 100 to 0 me, and I don't take those into account. I usually only take into account, oh, if I get hit by CC, I'm dead.
Yeah.
So I gotta watch out for this person and this person, not knowing that there's like a, let's say, 16-0 Kog'Maw, ready to just 2-shot me or something.
Right, with rage base stacks or something like that.
Yeah,
right? It's surprising. It's not that you've never died to this before. I'm pretty sure when you get to your stage, you've died to everything at least once. Right? So nothing really new happens in the game, at least not often. So when you see something like this, you'll say, oh, let's say this is a practice example, right? We say, okay, it's gonna be Ahri and it's gonna be Kayn. So first is you see Ahri, you're like, okay, where's Kayn now? That's the first thing you think, instead of how do I fight this? It's where's Kayn, where's Ahri? So here's Ahri, and then is she in range of Flash Charm? No, we're good. And then where's Kayn? And then you see Kayn down here. So then when this fight breaks out,
I mean,
it's really easy to keep track.
Massive movement speed.
Yeah. I mean, he's like right here.
Initially,
right?
the first idea was, how can I clear that wave?
Oh yeah, that's not this is not what you care about at all, right? You just care there's an impending fight coming on. That's not your job to clear the wave. I don't know how you're supposed to clear this wave, right? Literally impossible.
It was the idea of how could I, even if I couldn't do it, was there even a chance? Could I have cleared the wave? Maybe saved the town? Because I was more focused on turtling and just picks. I was thinking that, all right, Lux Q, just try and get picks.
Right. So
instead of just trying to 5v5.
Well, no, it's good you're trying to do something, all right? But the general idea is that they will not let you do this thing. It literally doesn't matter what it is. You're trying to fight, you're trying to pick, you're trying to clear the wave, you're trying to defend the tower. It doesn't matter what it is. The first step is not dying to whatever this is. Right.
Yeah, it's about as similar as walking up to their tower and they got their whole squad there.
Yeah, exactly. You wanna be preventative first, right? You can't execute on your plan first. It doesn't work that way, right? They always go first, essentially. Unless you're like 6 items. Maybe you can
have
go first.
That Lucian syndrome where I know that I have the burst damage. Maybe I can burst them down first. That obviously wasn't the case.
Yeah, that's not a thing for that's not a thing in this year. Let me tell you.
I've made myself believe that though, which is the dumbest thing.
Let's see what's going on here.
Oh, I just one tapper.
Yes, auto attack. What the fuck?
She just walks up and just like, okay, free. Yes. I don't know why I walked up. That could have killed me.
Yeah, he could have just touched you, right? Same with his charm, right? So you see how it's all coming together. Stuff like
I think I was more afraid of the 2 people there than the 1 person there. Still not recognizing that Kayn is probably worse than those 2.
I want you to watch this Ahri real quick. Let's watch how many. She must be lagging or something. Watch Ahri. Watch Ahri. She must be lagging or something. I don't know. Oh my god, that was fucking awful. Okay, so you didn't do too bad here, but the same ideas are definitely intact. All right, I want you to this is the number 1 idea you need to work on. Don't focus on what you're trying to do. Okay, you focus on the people who are gonna threaten you. This is for fights. Okay, you're gonna focus on the people who threaten you. For the mid game, you're gonna make sure that before you make a decision like push out or ward, you ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen here? And then go do that thing you wanted to do. Okay, we want you to be thinking about your moves before you do that. I think that's like the how we solve autopilot is not making a move until you've thought it through. Like you're not allowed to play the game until you think. That's the goal. right?
Yeah.
That's like literally the goal. Like you're not allowed to play until you think, right? Like whenever I catch myself doing stuff like this, it always goes back to this same idea where, okay, now I'm just gonna AFK under tower until I figure out what to do. It's literally better to AFK under tower than it is to go out and push and then die. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we gotta make sure that when you go out and push or go out and fight or try and focus the target, you're not dying first, right? And that's like the big idea we're seeing throughout your gameplay is that there's not enough consideration to worst case scenario. Right here, what would you have done if they're all here, for example?
I mean,
this is very classic.
GA,
right?
Die, maybe flash because I'm boosted. Something.
You're actually okay here. You're actually okay here, but you don't know it. That's the problem. Okay, you have flash and you have GA. You're okay here, but you don't. That's the thing is you don't know. You don't know because you didn't think about it.
I
first,
always play
right?
cocky when I have GA.
Right. But yeah, that's like the main thing, right? Is assume worst case scenario. Don't look at what's on the screen. Be worried about what's off screen. All right. This is like I think this is your biggest weakness. The thing you need to work on because
I also don't want to get into the habit of, you know, always expecting them to be on my ass and never do anything in the game. I also don't want to run into that issue.
You won't. I promise you won't. Like players like you and me, that'll never happen to us. I promise you. Okay, like I'm serious. Like it's this is we only are practicing the extreme because you have such a problem in the other direction. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not if it does happen, then show me a clip and then we'll work on that. But I promise you, it's not gonna happen. Like I'll give you if that happens, I'll give you a free coaching. How about that? Right? Yeah, you literally have a problem with just not doing anything AFK under tower. I'll literally be like, okay, free coaching, let's go. But you're not gonna have that problem. I promise you. So don't worry. Don't worry. You're always gonna have more of a problem of trying to make something happen and then it doesn't work out because of XYZ. Right? Mm-hmm. You guys are getting backdoored, by the way. Monka ass. Oh yeah, let's finish up this game though. But I do think that the examples, the interactions you had in this game showed very clearly, what's going on here, right?
That's
like yeah. I don't know what's up with you and getting into melee range of Mord, but you definitely don't want to get close to this guy.
I actually thought I was going to do way more damage than that.
Okay,
but
let's
now I know I can't do that. Never gonna do that again though.
Oh my god, he stole it. Alright, that's unfortunate. Oh,
I mean,
surrender.
I'm not afraid of doing something that will throw the game, as long as I learn, hey, well, that's something I shouldn't do again.
This is
if I could take something away from it, even if it is a lost game, eventually I'll learn from it and you know what I'm trying to say?
In a way.
Like the importance is obviously try to play to win.
It's like if you wanna like
play to get better, you naturally going to win.
Yeah, exactly. And you wanna be having an active hypothesis if you wanna be doing stuff like that. Like say for example, you need to have a reason why, you need to come up with a theoretical reason why this works and then go do it to see if it works. Right? So I don't know what's going on here though. This is what's going on here? What do you think? Let's say we're starting to implement, thinking about the stuff before we do anything, literally anything, including trying to hit people or fight. What tells you that you want to walk up and hit someone? Here.
What told me that I can walk up and hit somebody was knowing that I will dodge that hook and then do a full rotation and hope that another form of CC doesn't hit me before I have dash again. Or go in, dodge the hook, maybe set up something like a Blade of the Ruin King, Blade of the Ruin King slow, and maybe Lux lands a stun. Something. I was like just trying something.
Right, and that's exactly the problem you're having is you're trying something, right? Like I want you to think you need a concrete, solid, 90% guarantee reason that this is winning. Right? Literally, you have a guarantee somewhere that this is winning, right? Because your problem is just you're trying to do stuff. You're like trying to do stuff, but like doesn't make sense if you think about it, right? Like right here, this picture. What are the advantages of this picture, and what are the disadvantages?
Well, first off, that's a mean-ass rocket coming to me without me being able to do anything.
Well, I mean, you can auto attack her back, right?
Yeah, I'm not even just getting a little one. That's a pretty big one right there.
What's the most?
I mean, I could auto attack her back, but
what's the biggest disadvantage here?
The fact that I'll have no follow-up.
No. These one even bigger. You want to think?
First off, Kane is pushing mid, so he's obviously going to be pushing towards our inhibitor.
Okay,
we also don't have Aatrox, so still this is a 3v4.
Yep.
And all Kane has to do is just move up.
Alright, perfect. So this is doomed, no matter what you do. Okay. Now let's pretend Aatrox is here. Right now pretend Aatrox is here. Is this good or bad?
Still bad, I would say.
Why?
Because Kane can still move up while we're busy fighting his team. Because you're already going to know that Jinx is going to stand at max range, Thresh is going to be up there, and then while we burst our full rotation on them, Kane's just going to clean up.
Alright, so basically we have no reason to take this fight, right? Okay, let's pretend Aatrox and Kane are both dead. Is this good or bad? Why?
What was that again?
If Aatrox and Kane are both dead, they just don't exist in this fight. Is this good or bad, and why?
I would say it's good. Because
you say it's good.
If, let's say, magically they both got into a fight and they both killed each other, Kane, with all his ability to destroy our team compared to Aatrox's lackluster performance, I would still say that we have majority of the gold on these champions that might be able to...
No. This picture. Just like...
Oh, it's still 3v4.
I mean, you have Cassiopeia.
I mean, Cassio's right there, but she's slow.
No, she counts. This fight is not so instant that she doesn't count.
I think the fight would have been decided way before she even got there, or maybe a turnaround, but I don't know. I'm not exactly sure.
So what's our reasoning for?
I mean, there's no reason to be walking up to them. We should have them move towards us under our turret, so at least we have another form of damage.
And then maybe? And then it's like, why didn't we do this in game, right? What do you think?
Because I wasn't thinking about it.
Exactly. So it's not that you can't come up with this conclusion. It's that you just do stuff before coming up to this conclusion, right? This is always losing. 95, 99. I'll give it 99%. Always losing, right? And the reason being is that she has other dragons, so you're just losing the trade, right? I don't know. It's just, dude. She has red buff. You can say anything here. Even though you have 6 items, it doesn't matter. She's fucking 90% crit, right? This is one rocket and you're doomed, right? You can say something like, you have no way to dodge RE flash. This is a flash flay. He doesn't even need a land hook to win this, right? It's not good, right? Maybe if you had flash, we could say there's some kind of debate going on here, but this is like,
yeah.
When you try and do stuff without thinking, you end up putting yourself in a spot where your mechanics cannot win you the fight. That's the whole story of this game. Is there are situations where sometimes you can mechanic your way out, but most of your mistakes are you do something and then it's doomed, right? Like, you just look at this one auto trade and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Right? There's literally nothing you can do here. So
I didn't even get my double shot passive off, so it was just 2 damage.
Right. You can even say something along the lines of they're gonna sustain off your minions and you can't sustain off theirs without getting harassed, right? Stuff like that. I mean, you can go into it if you want, but the bigger idea is just you have no reason to
prevent
say
the issue instead of having to fix the issue.
Yeah. You kind of we want you to think about. Come
really
to the conclusion before you do this. This is actually pretty good. Let me watch this. This is pretty hot.
I feel sad about this because I messed up a wall jump or wall dash.
That's okay. See,
dashed into the wall.
It's not. This is totally fine. This is totally fine. Like, we don't like those mistakes are 10 times better than these the big idea, the brain idea. Yeah, brain idea is harder to fix. Is why. Like this mechanical idea. Okay, go into a practice tool. practice running around and getting next to the wall and dashing over and stuff. But this stuff you can only practice in game, right? When there's actual like a bunch of people here. So the big picture, like right here, did you see that? Did you see what just happened in this team fight? Right here. What are you doing in this picture? Who are you looking at?
I'm attacking the closest target while keeping an eye on Ari.
Okay, so what happened here? Take a look.
Ari charm. Oh, did it hit me?
You did not dodge it, or you didn't attempt to dodge it. Hit the Banshee's Veil, right? But you didn't.
Okay.
It was gonna hit you.
I didn't
It was
take
gonna
that
hit
into
you
it.
for sure.
That was gonna hit me.
That was actually touching you right there. If Cassiopeia is not in the way, so that's the big picture. Is that you're too focused on what's in front of you and not the threats. That's for team fights. This is for fighting, right? Just in general, though, you want to come to a conclusion before you make a move, right? In team fights, it's just things that are gonna kill you, and out of team fights, it's make your like do the thinking before you make your move. Okay, like I your homework is watch Dopa and come up with just like watch a bunch of his replays and try and figure out what's going on. Right. This team fight,
the whole fight could have been different if I like sideways dash towards her, full combo, maybe something.
Nah, this team fight.
I know the mechanics. You know, like I said, it's the decisions, but could have been salvaged. That at least this one.
No. This team fight is gone. This team fight's gone no matter what you do. Right. Like by this time, you've already lost the game. Is what you should be thinking. Yeah, the game is there are too many mistakes. There are too many mistakes up to this point.
Baron, yeah. Coming up. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. When you see something like this doesn't matter. Don't worry about this. If you lose a game because of this fight, it doesn't matter, right? You need to fix the stuff earlier. Is the problem?
Prevent the issue before.
Yeah. prevent the mistakes you can actually fix rather than this. There's too many variables out of your control, right? You didn't even play this that badly. It was just there are too many. You guys are put in such a poor situation that you can't win, right? Mechanically speaking, cannot win. So I want you to think that the habits that will help you the most, especially the mid game stuff, is like you don't make a move until you've thought it out, right? Like this is the perfect example where is it where we push here and then run to dragon or something? Yeah. This is the perfect example, right? Where before you do anything, you sit at the tower and you ask yourself, if I push this next wave, what's the worst that could happen? And after that, you say, if I go ward, what's the worst that could happen? Like you keep repeating that phrase to yourself. When I do this, what's the worst that could happen? And if they can't kill you or beat you or whatever, then you know that's a good move. Right? So that's what I want you to be thinking when there's no fighting going on. And then when there is fighting going on, I want you to be thinking about not what's in front of you, but rather what's going to kill you in these fights, especially the stuff off screen. And these two ideas in combination will help you with pretty much every facet of your gameplay. Like these are the two biggest ideas I think that we're seeing, where you're making moves without taking them into consideration, taking these ideas into consideration. So the habit is literally now and forever is you just sit and then don't do anything until you figure it out. Yeah, that's the first thing. All right. And then this has gotten better when you've made 0 moves where you do something and then you're like, oh shit. You get an oh shit moment, right? When you didn't expect something. When that happens, that means you still need to work on this. And then the team fighting stuff, I would say that's secondary, but I would say that helps a lot. That's like the stuff you like to focus on, the mechanical stuff. That's the team fighting stuff. Right? Is looking out for these champions that are going to screw you over, and then you can join the fight after you see them slash. They can't kill you with their abilities, right? So that's what I think you should work on, these two areas of your gameplay. So
yeah, I definitely can see where that would bring me some immediate improvement. Because if I'm at this particular spot with just mechanics, just improving the whole idea of what fights are good for me and what I can do in a fight based on just just by counting teammates.
Yeah, that's like exactly.
If no one else in the same place is no one else where I'm at is doing that, then I should win most of fights.
Right, exactly. I mean, how else do you think Smurfs and other high level players just win? It's not always mechanics. Although sometimes they win fights they shouldn't. Right. Wow, Dopa has a lot of new videos I need to watch, but there are, you can honestly take a look at any of these. Like, let's say, watch a mid lane video. I think that's more appropriate for
I
our
think a
role.
recent was
we go.
TF versus
Yeah. This is good. This is great.
It was TF versus Talon a while ago.
Yeah.
That was the
Anything
most recent
TF,
one
Corky, any mid laner, Oriana, any of these replays, go take a look. Like, and that helped me a lot, especially when I was looking at this idea where I was doing stuff and then getting immediately punished, and I was like, okay, why am I doing these stupid mistakes? And if you watch him, nothing happens that surprises him. Like almost, like pretty much nothing, and it's really insane, right? You want to be like as extreme as this, where you're such a genius that, you know, literally nothing unexpected happens. And if you die, it's because you're like, oh, I didn't E in time or something like that. Because at least you know you're supposed to E, right?
Yeah.
So this is I would say definitely watch that. You know, I should watch some more double myself, but I think that will help you a lot when it comes to mid game. But yeah, when it comes to laning, the laning was perfectly fine. The only thing that was a problem was enemy jungle, right? So I'm not really too worried about the laning. If anything, make sure that the jungle is coming when you're fighting, right? That kind of stuff. But it's all the mistakes you're making are all under these two categories, I would say. So,
I mean, I did see the that one Lucian video that you had posted. I think about a week and a half, 2 weeks back. I think it was a Gold 3 Lucian, and you were pretty much talking about, you know, the same decisions and stuff like that. And I think that's where I started trying to develop that. All right, that trying. Let's quote that to develop a way to figure things out before you know, or at least figure something out instead of doing nothing. But I'm still falling victim to the fiesta.
Yeah. For sure. So yeah, honestly, like you said, you can come up with whatever method you want. Like, you have a recording of yourself playing every 10 seconds or something. Like, literally anything you can come up with is good. Anything that works for you. So, but as long as you can get the idea going, get the habit going, this is definitely going to help you the most, right?
It's more or less I've realized because after you showing me the clips and being able to figure it out, yeah, I'm not figuring it out that quick, and that's something that I can learn. But just like, it's like, okay, when I'm playing the game, all I see is the game, and everything else around me is non-existent. And that sometimes bleeds into the thing, and sometimes, like, some person will be talking to me, I don't hear a single word they're saying without headphones on, and you know, sometimes it just gotta touch me to make, oh, what was that? What was happening? And if I could just break that, it'll be definitely a lot easier to think about how to play the game before I play the game.
Right. Yeah, honestly, I would just, whatever method works for you. Do have like someone touch you, I guess, every 30 seconds in game. I don't know. And literally anything works, right? But I promise you, if you can start getting this going, even if it takes you like 10 seconds to come up with something in game, the more you do it, like, you literally will do this like 10 times a game, right? So you play like 5 games, you did it 50 times. You know, you're gonna rapidly improve in terms of how fast you can come up with something, right? It's just, starting out is always hard, and I think that if you can stick with it, it'll help you a lot.
I gotta break the current habits.
Yes, exactly. Break the current habits is always the hardest part. At the same time, making new habits by breaking the current habits. So,
I think it might had a lot to do with me playing the game for fun and just starting to get serious.
I would say definitely watch your replays too. Anytime you die, for sure. That's an indicator.
Yeah, the little plays thingy actually has like little timestamps and skulls that you can just jump straight to it and
makes it easy.
Just watch it all.
So yeah, sounds good.
Sounds great.
Alrighty, I will upload this to YouTube and send you the link. But if you do have any last questions, actually, do you have any last questions?
I did.
Okay, yeah, hit me up. Before we call it. Let me see.
Well, I mean, most of the questions were solved from the words that you said. Like how would I handle a certain situation when it's just actively happening was solved by just think about it beforehand.
Yes, exactly.
And those there were a lot of those questions that I had that were just answered by you just saying what you had to say.
I hope that's a good sign.
It's a great sign because now I can at least review the few games that I got up here and start working on that attention span.
Yes. If it's not too tedious, I have actually another suggestion. If it's not too tedious, remember how we stopped anytime there is something about to happen, anytime a decision was to be made. I paused and I asked you, what are you supposed to be doing here and why? Do the exact same thing with these two games, and then watch what happens when you press play. Right, just pause and be like, okay.
I got a whole list of stuff I haven't, a whole list of ones that I haven't watched yet.
All right, awesome. Yeah, and then when that gets boring, because eventually that'll get boring, then you go play and try and do it in game. Right? So
I guess I actually enjoy every aspect of this.
That's actually really good.
Like if I'm not playing, if I'm not in a league game, I'm watching someone else play.
That's good. Absorbing as much gameplay through osmosis is great.
I'm pretty much seeing League of Legends at least 16, 17, 18 hours a day.
God damn. Eat, breathe, sleep,
serious. League. If I'm at work, I'm thinking about it all day. All right.
Alrighty. Any last questions or thoughts?
If I do, they'll have to wait.
Okay.
Well, not like wait, but like if I plan on doing another, if we plan to schedule another one in the distant future, then I'll probably just hold them to there, or figure them out on my own.
Okay. You can always message me on Discord.
Because for now, I actually do have to leave.
Awesome. Yeah. Makes sense. All right. So yeah, good luck in your games. Yeah. 30 minutes ago. Oh no. All right. Well, it's okay. It's okay.
I already told him.
Yeah, but let me know how these methods are working for you, and if you have questions or clips you want to show me, feel free to send them my way, and I can let you know what's going on there. So, sounds good?
Alrighty. Sounds great. Alrighty.
Have a good one, and yeah, good luck in your games. Let me know how they're going.
I'm not gonna need luck anymore.
That's the hope. You know, it's all skill. All right, have a good one.
You too.